Okay, the next session is going to explain how to load a footer onto your photo booth. Now, the footer would be given to you on a USB only under certain circumstances. Most of the time, it will be loaded already onto the booth before you go onto your event with the booth. But there are certain circumstances where you do need it on a USB, such as if you were going to be doing multiple events before bringing the booth back to have it loaded. That does happen on occasion, and it's best to know how that is loaded, or in case there's a change while the booth is already in your possession. So I'm going to go ahead and insert the USB into the hub, and there is a hub in all of the photo booths. It's mounted next to the camera, and you can put it into any one of the slots. Okay, so that is loading now. And as it reads that, you can go ahead and open up the folders. You can ignore where it was staying the Dropbox. We're not going to be loading it through Dropbox, even though that is an option, but not for this particular case. Okay, so we're going to click on the USB over here in your directory. I have other files in here as well, but for this purpose, we're going to use this one labeled 2817 BHH. Ignore that. And that is going to be for what we're going to be using for the test purposes. So what we want to do is we want to take that file and just drag it to the desktop. It doesn't matter where you drag it. And you can then close this window. And now you have the USB closed, and you have the footer on your desktop. Now from here, you need to rename the footer to footer. Now it only will work if it's named footer, and if it's named anything else, it will not function because the software calls for that particular name. So what you do is you mouse over the file name and you click once, and then click another time, and you'll see it highlight. So basically click once to verify that you're on it, click again on the file name, and it will highlight it. And just rename footer and hit enter, and it is now named footer, as you can see. From here, simply drag it into the folder that says insert footer here. Now if it says replace the file in the destination, that just means that there was already one in there, which lets you know you're in the right place, because there's always going to be a footer in there if it's doing a 3-unit strip. So go ahead and replace the file in the destination. It is now copied. So the footer is now applied to the software. Now we can go ahead and do a test print, and I'll show you the output without even having to look at an actual print. So what we're going to do here is go back to the DSLR Remote Pro software, which I already had open, and we are going to start Photobooth. And you can ignore the lovely background of the warehouse. And we are going to start printing. Well, sorry, we're going to start the photo booth. As it takes its 3 photos, it's going to now finish with great applause. Hello, everybody. And now I'm just going to exit out of the software real quick. And we're going to reduce the window. And you're going to see that it created a folder on the desktop that has today's date. So some of the photo booths will load right to the desktop, which is perfectly fine. Makes it a little easier for some. And on others, it will load into the folder that says galleries. Now the reason for that, it being a difference, is because a lot of the files are made based on the operating system of the photo booth, and same thing with the settings are based on the operating system of the photo booth. But We have several booths, and there are slight differences, whether it be a different operating system, different version, or different updates, which the updates won't affect the way the booth works at all, but directories aren't always going to match the same versus Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 10. So for this particular booth, it happens to put it onto the desktop, which is easier for most. So you can go ahead and open that up, and you're going to see several files in here. So just to give a description, I'm going to sort by type. So first, you'll see in the bottom here these XML files. These you can just ignore. These are just the files that get created first, and that's what the program writes to be able to create the 3-image strip. These are the actual 3 images that were taken. And then you have these 2 folders here. The prints, this is what actually gets printed, so we're going to open that up. And you can see faintly on here that it's showing that it's got the 3-image strip with the footer. So we're just gonna click over here to. I'm just gonna actually let's just open it. Let's make it a little easier. So it's gonna preview it, and there you can see it. There's our Boston Harbor Hotel footer on the bottom, and it has the 3 images. So that's all you really need to do to check and make sure you have the right footer. It will also print as well, since you'll have it already hooked up. But for tutorial purposes, at least you'll know that that's showing the footer was applied the way it needed to. And while I'm in here, I'll just show you this folder right here creates that animated GIF that we were talking about. So you'll see a separate file in there. And we'll explain how those are going to be used in the next session.